NATO countries are ramping up the production of artillery munitions on worries that Ukraine is burning through shells much faster than the West can make them, the alliance said on Wednesday. And it comes as Russia claims its forces have broken through 2 Ukrainian defensive lines on the Eastern Front, and Kyiv describing conditions there as difficult. After a 2-day meeting of alliance defense ministers in Brussels, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg welcomed the new support for Ukraine and said time was of the essence.
Things are happening, but we need to continue, we need to step up even more, because there is a big need out there to provide Ukraine with ammunition.
Even before Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24th last year, many NATO countries had fallen short of meeting the alliance's munitions stockpiling targets. The pace of deliveries to Ukraine has drained Western inventories even further. At the same time, plans to supply Kyiv with 2 battalions of Leopard 2 tanks are taking shape. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said Western nations had pledged 48 Leopard 2 tanks for Kyiv, including 1 battalion of 31 older Leopard 2A4 tanks, whose delivery is being coordinated by Poland. He also said that Berlin will send 14 and Lisbon another 3 of the more advanced Leopard 2A6 tanks, and that ammunition stocks for German-made Leopard battle systems used in Ukraine's air defense were sufficient for now.
So first of all, about the Leopard ammunition. According to all the experts, this is completely sufficient because there are still plenty of rounds of ammunition, especially when you consider how much ammunition has been fired since the Leopard tanks were delivered. This is about the same amount again. Therefore, there should be enough for the coming period until the summer.
Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry is saying that Ukraine has retreated in the face of Russian attacks in the Luhansk region. Reuters was not able to independently verify this and other battlefield reports. The Kremlin has intensified attacks across a swathe of southern and eastern Ukraine in recent weeks, and a major new offensive is widely expected.
I welcome the new pledges of support made by NATO allies, including more heavy weapons and military training. This is critical. Ukraine has a window of opportunity to tip the balance, and time is of the essence, completing our stockpiles. Today, ministers also addressed the security of critical undersea infrastructure. The sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines has reminded us all of the vulnerabilities we face. Ministers tasked the NATO military authorities to provide advice on what more we should do, including through better coordination and cooperation with the private sector.
And you warned about NATO's own stockpiles of ammunition that production needed to...
So yes, things are happening, but we need to continue, we need to step up even more, because there is a big need out there to provide Ukraine with ammunition. This is now becoming a grinding war of attrition, and a war of attrition is a war of logistics, and therefore this is so crucial for our ability to ensure that Ukraine wins, is able to retake territory.
Okay, start with the BBC.
Thank you very much.
28 allies have already ratified both protocols, and then Hungary and Turkey has not. And therefore it is for Turkey to decide whether they ratified both, and I have recommended that, or whether they ratify only one of the 2 documents. This trend is expected to continue this year. It is obvious that we need to spend more. My thinking around this is that instead of changing the 2%, I think we should move from regarding the 2% as a ceiling to regard the 2% of GDP as a floor, a minimum.
They had little time to react and threw everything they could, including taxi cabs.
Our goal is to make sure that we give Ukraine additional capabilities so that they can be not only be marginally successful, they can be decisive on the battlefield in their upcoming offensive. And so you've seen us move to provide Bradley fighting vehicles. You've seen us move to provide Strikers, Martyrs, Leopard tanks, and a number of other things that we're pulling together to provide them additional capability that I think will make a pretty significant difference in their counteroffensive in the spring.
Thank you, Secretary Austin. David Boati from Swedish Public Television. Regarding the accession process.
Bill, I'm not aware of any additional objects that have been reported operating in the space in the last 48 hours. So, but in terms of whether or not the debris is important, it's absolutely important. And we're going to do everything we can to recover debris if it's possible. That will help us learn a lot more about, what these objects are. We're also working with other agencies, NASA, FAA, FBI, and everybody in the community who may have an interest in operating in this space to learn more about, what these could have possibly been.